Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Calvin Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get started. So, I just wanted to make it clear what you can expect from me on this show and what my commitment to you is. My commitment to you is to never bullshit you. I'm going to tell you the straight truth, the way I see it. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to try to pretend that I'm smarter or brighter or better looking or more successful than I am. So many of us live our lives feeling like we're less than or inferior to other people, that everybody has it better and have it figured out. And these people that we see on TV, they seem so smart and they seem like they know all the answers. And I think that's bullshit. We're all struggling. We're all flawed human beings. And I think the best thing that we can do for each other is just to be honest. That way we can see the realness in each other. And that's my goal here with you. Cool. And I just spat all over my face. If you're kind of on a journey of growth, the people around you tend to have a reaction to that. They like you better the way that you were before. Very often there's like all this pressure in social groups, whether that's friends or family, that hold us into certain patterns. And so whenever we go back home for the holidays, we tend to experience those kind of irritations or those like disturbances. There's a famous quote by Ram Dass: "If you think you're so enlightened, try spending a week with your family." We've grown, we've moved, we've changed, and now we go spend a week with our family of origin, and holy shit, do we get triggered on a lot of stuff. The way that you know that you've been triggered is like you can feel it in your body. So it's like noticing that like tension that starts to build up wherever it is. Usually like shoulder region is about anger, heart region is around sadness and loss, and the stomach is typically fear. It's a great invitation to be like, all right, here's something that's clearly rubbing me the wrong way. How can I deal with that? And just be present in that moment. As soon as you notice that your body's going into that kind of contracted, tense state, you need to just be like, hey, hold on, I just need a second here. And then you need to take a few deep breaths and just regroup yourself. I like to think of like, honestly, like inner child work, because that's all it is. It's just that small wounded part of ourselves that get hurt and re-triggered. The other thing is like experiencing something that just feels so familiar. Like you've been in this argument a million times before, you've had this happen a million times before, you've felt this way a million times before. And the remedy is the same. Like take a moment to just like breathe and reconnect with that inner child and love the other person. They're not doing anything wrong. You're both like not seeing each other in that moment. You're just seeing each other's masks. And so if you can step beyond seeing that other person's mask and actually see their unique and loving and lovable soul that sits behind that mask, then that makes it so much easier again not to get triggered. You know, if it gets too much, you may have to leave. I mean, honestly, there's no one that says that you need to spend time with your family like ever or over the holidays or like more than a few hours. That's totally up to you. I mean, a lot of people grow up in healthy families and you're not going to have these issues, but I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of every human being living on this this round ball of dirt. Most of us did not grow up in healthy families. We grew up in dysfunctional families. Pretty much the number one life achievement that you can have is to break out of that family dysfunction. It's the hardest thing that you can possibly do in life, and it's the most important thing that you can possibly do in life for yourself. Only when you do that can you fully step into life and lead, be happy and filled up inside, and that's the biggest gift that you have to offer the world. I think when it comes to family, we have an obligation to any like young dependent children, and that's where it stops. You have zero obligation to take care of your parents or your siblings or anyone else. These people are grown-ups, And if they're not, if they're just babies in grown-up bodies, which a lot of people are, that's not your responsibility. It really isn't. What it happens is that we just get into the drama triangle. Oh, this person is a victim, so now I can go in and be a hero and feel good about it, but it's actually not helping that other person because it's keeping them stuck in a victim position, and it's not doing anyone any favors. This cycle can just go on forever and ever. And it seems like a lot of shit is happening, but nothing happens at all. Nothing changes, but a lot of energy is consumed. I actually never liked Christmas. I didn't really enjoy any of it. I didn't like the food. And when I was a kid, I obviously loved the presents, and we'd play with them. We got a ton of Lego. I'll say that. I'm Danish. When I grew older and had my kids, and we had some Christmases together that were actually kind of nice. My first wife's family actually cooked really nice food for Christmas, and that was the first time I realized that this stuff could actually taste good. So I don't, go celebrate Christmas with my family anymore. But what I did do this summer was I went to a 90th birthday party in my family on my mom's side. My mom's brother turned 90 this summer, and I'm so glad that I did. Now that I have changed so much and moved, being kind of put back into that environment, but looking at it from a completely different perspective, was extremely healing for me. When I was a kid, I always felt so wrong. I mean, I felt so wrong in general, but I remember specifically at these family functions, my family on my mom's side would always throw these huge parties with like 100 people, and I didn't know any of them, and they were like, oh, I remember you, and I didn't remember them, and I couldn't remember their names, and I just felt awful, and they were like teasing me and things, and I just felt awful. I just felt so out of place. And so going back this summer, I could just see how much I had figured out about life, about how to make work and career, business work for me, and just get out of feeling like a victim in life, and all of these big changes. I'm in a place where I figured all this stuff out, and they're still in the same place. I kind of sometimes feel in life that I've taken a longer route to a lot of things, because I was always blasting my own path, and it was struggling a lot for many years because of that. And now I can see that taking that extra route has been really beneficial to me, and meeting my family members again just helped that really bring that out home really clearly for me. Well, we're freaking out, we're spinning around at 67,000 miles an hour. So let me show you how to escape the crowds. Build yourself a rocket and forget this town.
Alright, question of today. What are your thoughts on passive income, and are you currently making a living off of any passive income?
Great question. Thank you for the question. Passive income, what do I think about it? I love it. And yes, I am currently making my living from passive income. I have since December 2012. And I remember that moment very clearly because it was after I'd gone through my divorce and I was really broke. I'd already started Simplero, but it was not making a whole lot of money at the time. And at this point, after my divorce, I spent a lot of time in America and flying back and forth because I couldn't get a visa. It was really expensive, so I was basically broke by the time that I moved to India. And that was great because that meant very low cost of living. And so that let me get my finances back in order. And so slowly, by the time kind of December rolled around and we'd been in India for 4 months or something like that, we reached a point where Simplero was able to cover all my bills and we could just make a living from that. What it did was it really reconnected me with my purpose for doing everything. All right, I don't have to worry about money, so what is it that I really want to do? I really want to fulfill the vision for what I see Simplero could be. So that's what I'm still doing, working on every day, and it's growing and it's amazing, and it really satisfies me to see that happen. And the second thing was I really want to share my journey, my story, my life experience, and everything that I've learned in figuring out how to live this magnificent life. And that's what I'm doing right here with you. Passive income is amazing. What I will say is if you want it, then you need to focus on it and you need to make it a priority. I'm not interested in doing anything just for the money. I'm only interested in doing it if it pays money and it helps me towards my purpose and where I want to go. So I'm also always thinking about how do I build an asset that I can leverage. Like, building a new feature into Simplero that someone is requesting, if it fits with my vision for Simplero and other people are going to want it, then doing it for this one customer in Simplero adds to my asset because now Simplero is worth more. And so I always think in this way, like, how can I build something that's going to keep like working as a machine on its own, and I can just go in and tinker with it and make it better and make it better. If there's money to be had that pulls me in another direction, I will say no every single time, and it doesn't matter how much it is. That is my focus, is always on what is the life that I want to build? What is the purpose of my life? A lot of people talk about like what's the purpose of business, and a lot of people will tell you the purpose of a business is to make profits, to make money. And I think that's crap. I think it's bullshit. I think it's so short-sighted. I'm totally with John Mackey, CEO and founder of Whole Foods, when he says, saying that the purpose of business is profits is just as stupid as saying that the purpose of life is to eat. We don't live just so we can eat. Sometimes we do because food is fucking amazing. We eat so that we stay alive, so that we can live our lives and fulfill our purpose in life. That's why we eat. It's a means to an end. Profits is a means to an end. We want to get somewhere. We want to change the world, impact the world in some way. We have a vision for how we want the world around us to evolve because we're in it. If it was just for the profits, it's just boring and shallow and uninteresting and not a life that's worth living. Passive income is fantastic. Make it happen for yourself and use that driver to fulfill your higher purpose in life through this business. So one of my many passions, I'm a multi-passionaire, is drinks, cocktails, drinks making. I love drinking things that taste amazing and make me a little tipsy. A couple years ago, I was at Burning Man with my buddy Ale, who's sitting right here staring at the camera. And at Burning Man, my camp was doing this bar one night, and I realized in 2008, when I kind of had that moment where I discovered my life purpose, one of the key memories that I had was of bartending at the parties that we threw in college. I try to serve this beer in the most loving, serving, present manner that I possibly could and really interact with people. And I loved it. It really turned me on to do that. I just reconnected with that memory, and I was like, you know what? That's something that I really, really enjoyed. And at the same time, I realized, OMG, this whole like cocktail thing is a thing. It's something that you can learn and study. I hadn't thought about that before. Like the one drink that I knew how to make was the martini. And the other thing I knew how to make was a Moscow Mule. Beyond that, I didn't really know things. After I realized, oh my God, there's a lot to learn here, I decided to go out and study. I went out and I got some books. This is part of my book collection on drinks making. I've always loved learning from books. And so one thing in particular that I tend to do is like go out and research on Amazon, obviously, and find like the 5 or 10 top books or most interesting books on some topic. Because that's a great way to kind of get a big overview of like, what do they agree on and what do they disagree on? What seems to be important to mention and what's left out. This one in particular was probably the best intro that I can think of, which is The Fine Arts of Mixing Drinks, and it's from like 1948 or something, relatively shortly after Prohibition, and you can see how much Prohibition actually shaped the whole cocktail world. This is how I like to approach things, and then I just, sink into it. So let's go to my bar and I'll show you my favorite cocktail for the holidays. It's like an after 8 minty chocolatey thing, and you're gonna love it. It's great for after your dinner. So we're gonna make this cocktail. It consists of crème de cacao, which is what it sounds like, and crème de menthe, which is the mint piece. So you can see how it's like an after 8 kind of dessert. Do they have after 8 in this country? No, but after 8 is like a specific like chocolatey dessert thing. It's like, and each one comes in its own little sleeve, and so it's like in a box, and then you pull out one of these sleeves and you pull out the chocolatey thing and you eat it, and it's like this. It tastes exactly how this tastes. So I'm using soy milk as a base. You can use regular milk as well. We're gonna shake, and the reason we're gonna shake is that the result is gonna be cloudy anyway. The only time that you want to stir is when you want something that doesn't have any citrus or anything, so that it becomes very clear. because when you shake it, it makes all these little air bubbles, which are nice for texture and for taste, but they don't look so pretty. And so we start by grabbing some ice, and honestly, I just use the stupid ass ice cubes that my freezer makes because they're plenty. Usually when I throw a party, I will buy a bag of ice because it's nicer. What you can do to make it more, give it more of the bubbly texture is you can throw this guy in, which is from Booker and Dax. It's a cube, and so you can use regular ice cubes and then this guy. So we throw that in there. This is from a company called Tempus Fugit, which I believe is Swiss. There are also others like Marie Brizard and stuff that are cheaper, but I really care about my labels. I like that the stuff inside tastes good, but it also really matters to me that the label is pretty. And so we take 1 ounce of that. This is just for one drink. Obviously, if you're making 2 for you and a friend, you double it. 1 ounce of the creme de cacao with vanilla. Some days I might even throw a little vanilla essence in there if I want it really vanilla. 2 ounces of that. So it's very simple. 1 ounce each of the 2 cremes and 2 ounces of the soy milk, and that's it. And generally, you want to shake hard and not too long. And I like to pour it over an ice cube. And we pour. Good. And then I take 2 of these little tiny straws and stick in there. And that's your drink. That's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of The Calvin Show. Don't forget to sign up to the mailing list for updates on new episodes. And send me any questions that you have. I really, really dig hearing from you guys. And remember, what's the worst that can fucking happen?